Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wajazallahu anna Muhammadan wa huwa ahlu sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So today's class, inshallah, we're just going to go over some stuff of the Prophet's belongings. There's a little timeline of his, inshallah. So as you can see from my screen here, let's go over his clothes, his dressings, and his food and drink. So from his clothes were not ostentatious or grandiose. Ostentatious means prideful. You know, they were not such a thing where people looked at it like he did not showboat with them. They were simple yet elegant. They looked nice, but they were not extremely overbearing, right? And grandiose means like extremely overly extravagant. So he was in the middle path. He didn't wear clothes that were just extremely bum looking, but he did not wear clothes that were extremely extravagant. Like he didn't, spend $1,000 for a t-shirt that's Gucci. Just had a nice simple, like maybe like a Nike t-shirt, as to give you guys a clear example. Like a Nike or an Adidas t-shirt, something simple, but that's still a little, popular. So he wore clothes made of wool and loved the hibara. So hibara, let me show you what that looked like. Hibara was basically just kind of like the top of a jibba. So he just wore his jibba, and I guess you could kind of call this jacket thing a hibara, right? Wait, sorry. And Yemeni clothing with red and white stripes. So Yemeni clothing back then might be a little different than what we have now. But it's still, I guess you could, it's difficult to find something that's exactly the way he had. But in terms of style, right? Like he just had his jubba, etc. So it's difficult to match, but yeah, as long as you get the understanding, I suppose. Right, so with red and white stripes, that was the design of it. And he liked to wear the qamis, and he liked the green color. So as a matter of fact, the color green was his favorite color, his most favorite color. So at times he wore like a green jubba or anything like that. That was his favorite color. On Fridays, he would wear a reddish cloak and wear a turban. So it's not, you could say reddish, but it's more leaning to the brown color. So if you can kind of see from my jubba, see how this is kind of brown. Like nobody's really gonna say this is red, but I guess it's gonna be similar to what we in English call like a burgundy. It's gonna be like a burgundy, it has a little brown but a little red tint. So it's not extremely red. It's not red like this. It's not something extremely red like this. As we are Muslim, we hope you guys can see that. As we Muslims are not supposed to wear, men are not to, yeah, you could say maroon too. Yeah, you could say maroon too. But us guys are not supposed to wear red or pink. Those are for the females. Like your auntie or your mom or something, they wear red and pink. But we as men, it is haram for us to wear red. Stuff like this, we can't wear. But like a maroon, a burgundy, then you can. Like something that has a little red tint, and that's okay. And he wore a turban. So his turbans, he always liked to wear black turbans. That was his thing, wearing a black turban. But he did like to wear, I believe he did wear, maybe possibly could have worn white a couple times, but he mostly wore black or imama. And the length of which was, he had varying lengths of it. At times, one of them was 7. In Arabic, you call it a dhira'. It's not a foot, but it's about the length of your forearm. So if you had a piece of cloth, it'd be from here to here and then back about 7 times. So if you were to like flip my arm over, for example, that's how long it would be. So he had one from here, about a foot and a half, maybe, give or take. It's called it's called, let me show you what it's called. Type it down. It's called a dhira'a. It's like a foot or so, but in various lengths. So one would be like 7 or 9 or 12. Others were 15 dhira'. It's like 15 times this. As you guys can see on my form, 15 times this. That was the length of it. Then he'll wrap it numerous times. So on Fridays he would wear that. He loved perfumes, and he used a mixed perfume or pure musk. So a mix could be anything. You can mix it with like musk, or just a nice mix match, a combination of different perfumes. He also liked to do that. So like to get like a new scent from adding or combining multiple ones. And there wasn't a specific combination, but it was whether just a combination itself. So if you guys wanted to mix, for example, like white musk with like oud and like red rose or something, like a crazy combination, you can. Just make sure it smells nice though. Don't go crazy and have some funky looking, some funky. I'm not swearing. Funky, a funky smelling right there. Don't make one of those. Nobody's really gonna like you, man. He disliked offensive smells. So body odor, guys. Always make sure, I mean, if you're running outside, right, you're gonna smell bad, but always make sure that you're trying to smell yourself, that you yourself are smelling very pleasant, as it is. It's basically, it's against your own, like the adab of you. That basically, you have a soul, right? And you have this body now that you are inhibiting. You are controlling your body. So it's against, it's bay adab. It's against the etiquette and the adab that you have for your own body to be smelling offensively. Whether it's, you wore dirty socks and your feet smell, or, your armpits smell, or, you didn't wash your hair, you didn't put on shampoo. Anything that your body gives off an odor, it's always good to clean it. It's always good to clean it. Not even good, it's more than good to clean it. You should be cleaning it. Right, guys? Always make sure you're taking care of yourself. And then after you clean up yourself and you're smelling nice from like using the soap, then you put on some nice itter, some perfume. And that's how you become people smell you, they'll be attracted to you. Like, oh, mashallah, that brother smells nice. Or you smell good today. Right, guys? So please, inshallah. Oh, and also don't go crazy too. Some people I hear they shower like 3-4 times in a day. Remember, guys, that we are Muslims and we don't overdo things. There's no need to shower. Like if you go outside and you're running around in mud and then you shower, and then you go back outside and you fall in like mud again, then obviously shower. But rather what I mean is just if you just at home, you didn't really do anything, maybe just chilling, helping, cooking or whatever, and there's no need to shower, then don't waste the water, right? But if there is a need to bathe and rinse off and make, to make ghusl or something, then do so. But if there's no need, then don't. There's no need to be excessive, guys. Okay. And then so it continues. So right, he disliked offensive smells, and he would apply kohl in his eyes. Kohl in I'm forgetting what it is in English. It looks like a little black rock. Let me show you. Surma, I think is what it's called. Surma. Yeah. Let me show you. I believe it is called surma, right? Yeah, surma. I have one here, guys. It's a little. It comes from a rock, and basically they kind of chip it into pieces, and it comes very grainy. And women nowadays have, I think it's called mascara, so it's similar to that. But good, mashallah. So the thing with surma, if you guys wanted to, you can use it in your day-to-day life. Like if you're outside, you're going to the masjid, you can put it on. as it is something that helps to increase and better your eyesight. So it's very, very healthy for your eyes. If you have your eyes kind of going blurry or it doesn't feel strong, you can apply that. So he would, he wouldn't, the way that he would add it is that he would, so you guys have your, I can't explain it to you, like physically show you, but you have your eyelash, and then right on your eyelash, there's like a little piece of flesh right before your eyeball, right before your eyeball. So he would put it on the line of the eyelash. So for example, let's say my fingers were your eyelashes, right? Right here on the edge, like right where your eyelashes start, there's a little piece of flesh right here, and that's where he would apply it. And he would apply it to his right eye first 3 times, and then he would apply it to his left eye for 3 times. So go 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. And that's how he would do it. But inshallah, if you guys do have it, then use it. But he also, so it's really mainly sunnah to use before bedtime. So you go into bed, you make your wuzu, you wash your face, you go into bed, that's when the Prophet would use it, and you'd sleep with it like that. Actually, I made a mistake. So 3 times in the right and 2 times in the left. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake, guys. So it's 3 times in the right and 2 times in the left. And that's how he would have it. And this helped to strengthen his eyes. And you can, like I said, you can use it to go to the masjid, and stuff like that. But just remember that, non-Muslim people, they, like women, they have mascara. So some of them might look at you and say this and that, but remain firm. If you do it, remain firm and know that you're following the sunnah. And it's permissible. Like, you guys can. Not many people do it because it's kind of like, like, oh, you look like mascara, man. But it's good to it, and it's sunnah. So don't stress. He would also use oil in his hair and his beard. So the oil that he used to usually like to use was olive oil. That was his thing. He just loved to use olive oil. And it said that he used to use so much olive oil that it would like if he was to wipe it with a rag or anything like that, it would completely soak the rag. So he would like just put like a lot of oil in his hair. And then what he would do is that so this is how it was. So he had, my hair's kind of messy right now, guys. Sorry. So you'd have his turban, but you also have a smaller, like a topi, like those little white topis that you guys may have. You would have something similar like that underneath his turban. So basically it was like this. So he had his hair, he put olive oil in his hair, make it look nice, and then he would put that white or whatever, it's called a kalansu in Arabic, a smaller topi on top of his hair, and that would absorb the oil. You guys understand? The smaller one would absorb the oil, and then he would put on his actual turban and his actual turban on top of that. So that way he didn't get all of the oil and the grease on his actual turban. Rather, it stayed on the smaller topi. You guys understand what I mean? So that's what he would do. And then his beard too. I don't know about any of y'all, but I don't really have a beard, so I don't know. But you could put it in your beard. Now, there's nothing wrong with using other oils. Like you can use, like castor oil or like, I don't know, jojoba oil. There's other oils you can use, but the Sunnah oil is 100% virgin olive oil, like purely olive oil. Let's see. So he liked to begin everything from the right. He would eat from his right. He would step in the house with his right. He put on his clothes with his right. So he put in the right arm first, and then put in the left, etc., etc. That's how he would do things. And it says now he would also use a mirror, and he never traveled without a few different things. A flaken of oil is basically just a little container of oil. A vial of coal. A vial is just like a little container, just another tiny little container. A mirror, a comb, a pair of scissors, and his miswak. So if you guys wanted to have it in your have all the stuff in your pocket, maybe a few, or maybe you have like a little pouch that keeps such things in if you guys wanted to follow this sunnah, that's what he did. So he would have a mirror, so that way, when he got up or whatever, he could use a mirror and he could put on his kohl, his surma, he could use it. That way the mirror, he could look at himself, fix his hair, make himself presentable. He also had a pair of scissors and a needle and thread. Now, obviously, you're not going to be really carrying that around every day, but you can keep a needle and thread at your house. And the reason he had a needle and thread is because when he had his sometimes you're wearing your jubba and it gets like a rip in it. So he liked to stitch it himself. So this is sunnah. And he'd stitch it himself. He'd patch it up. Right. So if there was like a rip, he would stitch it. Or sometimes if it's a very big tear, then you would grab like an extra piece of cloth, and you could use that cloth to cover the big rip, and they stitch that in. You guys understand what I mean? That's what he would do. And then obviously his miswak, and that's what he would do. And he would also do cupping or hijama done at him. So the Chinese people from China, they also do cupping, but theirs is a little different. The way they do it is with the same similar hijama cups, a cup like the cupping cups, but they would use fire, not to burn you, but like a little, like to kind of try to control it, and then they use the heat in order to create suction. So it's a different style, but that's how they would do it. But we Muslims, the way we do it is that obviously none of you guys don't try it on yourself because you might hurt yourself, but you grab a little razor and you create little ticks. You basically cut yourself tiny, 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 very tiny little cuts that just basically allows your body to bleed. You don't scar yourself, tiny little cuts. Somebody would do it on you, and then they have the cup, different sizes. But for example, I hope you guys can see this. He'd cut himself tiny, 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 or have somebody do it tiny, 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 and then they would have the cup in here, and then they would create like a vacuum. Different ways, but they create a vacuum or some type of a suction cup, and then they would create pressure within the cup. So it's kind of difficult to explain, but I hope you guys understand what I mean. So then the pressure or the suction within the cup would draw out the bad blood from here. So if somebody has, one of my friends, he actually did it on his head. He said that he got very, very, very bad headaches. So he cut off some of his hair, and he did, in order to do enough, and he cut a little bit, put the cup on, and in order to draw out bad blood. But I believe that the main spot, the sunnah spot to do hijama is on the back. Is to do it on your back. I believe that was the main spot where the Prophet peace upon him would do that done. He would get that done. But it was on the back. So now in regards to his food and drink, he sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not partake from alms and charity. Alms meaning he did not like take charity. He would give out charity, but he himself will not take it. So you wouldn't be able to go offer him like, hey man, here's $10. He would not take it. But rather or if he did take it, he would take it and then quickly give it to somebody else. But he himself would not take it and use it upon himself. You guys understand? So take it and kind of give it away. But that was because the Prophet peace upon him said that his family, people from like his lineage, his sons, it was haram for them to take any type of charity. That was just a condition that his family had. But normal people like us, you're allowed to take charity. So, let's say you guys go out and, somebody from the masjid, maybe one of your friends, he just gives you $5. He's like, here, man, here's a little gift from me to you. It's halal for you to take it. So don't think that you're not allowed to. It is. You can take it, inshallah. I'm saying in regards to the Prophet peace upon him, whenever somebody gave it to him, he would immediately give it away. So that's what he would do. And he'd also give gifts to people. His food was neither sumptuous nor extravagant. Sumptuous meaning it wasn't like extremely like deficient. I heard one story of, I think his name was Buddha. a Buddha, the big like the big Sufi sub to according to the Hindus, Buddha or whatever religion they follow. It said that he went behind some tree and he would eat a grain of rice a day. That doesn't even make sense. He would eat a grain of rice. Anywho, my point is that the Prophet he never ate like this. If he ate food, he ate some nice food. He didn't starve himself purposefully, but he did not also fill himself to such a level where, like, sometimes you eat so much, you're like, oh, I can't even breathe. And you're like stuck in a weird world, like, oh, my belly. It wasn't like that. Rather, the Prophet, peace upon him, said that when you are eating, you should eat to such an extent that you leave room for three things. That you leave room for food, like you fill yourself, but you also leave food for air and water. So if you had to break your stomach break it down into three parts, you had a part for food, a part for water, and a part for air. Meaning, just giving that way your body can digest everything and build itself up and then, distribute the waste as your body normally does. So he didn't fill himself to such an extent where he just was completely gone. He wasn't like that. And he also would go hungry at times. So he would fast. So some days, sometimes whenever me and you were craving something, we eat immediately. Man, I'm hungry. All right, let's go to the fridge, grab a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But there were times when the Prophet, he remained vigilant and he had what's the word I'm looking for? I'm forgetting the word, but basically he would not punish himself, but he would be patient. And instead of just eating whenever the eating desire came about, he would set that desire aside to say, okay, I'm not going to eat right now. And then he would, eat the next day. He would basically save the food or, partake in it later. He didn't just eat whenever he felt like eating. Although we nowadays have that privilege. So if you do that, I'm not saying it's haram, but if you do decide to do that, then make sure that you always say your dua before and after you eat and thank Allah. Because it is a big ni'mah, it's a big blessing that Allah has given us. We're able to just go into the fridge and grab pop or chips or cookies or whatever the case may be. So make sure you thank Allah before and after. And then after, so let's say you guys, when you have your biryani, or or your masala or something, he would eat usually like this. I don't know if you guys can see me. I can't see myself explaining this to you guys. Let me see. I want to make sure that you guys can see me proper. Yeah, so he would eat like this with his three fingers. Like he didn't use a fork and a knife. He had his three fingers and eat like this. He'd grab some, put it in his mouth, etc. You guys know. But if you can't do it with three fingers, then you can do three. Somebody in the chat said six. It's six. What do you mean it's six? Oh, it's 6 o'clock. Okay, yeah. Are you guys okay if I take 5 more minutes, inshallah? 5 minutes, and then I'll be done. Just 5 minutes. Okay. Yeah. So I just want to explain this quick. So if it's difficult for you to eat with three fingers, then you can do four. But it's always best to stay away from eating with five. Don't eat like this, like like this. It has a greedy connotation to it. So it's always best to eat with three, but if you can't, then eat with four. And it's like makruh. It is disliked. I read it's might I don't want to say it's haram because what about rice? Yeah, so you eat rice, but you still eat it like this. So you don't have to get like a big portion, just some rice, you scoop it up and you put it in your mouth and you eat it. But don't eat with two hands. It's makruh. It might be even haram. I'll have to double check, but I know it's makruh. It's not good to eat with two fingers. Like don't eat like this. Like your fingers aren't chopsticks, So it's two or three. Inshallah, two or three fingers. But rice, you can still eat normally with rice with three fingers. So let me just finish this quick, guys, and then that'll be class, inshallah. Right. So he would after eating, they say finger looking good. He would lick his fingers. I believe he would start from this finger and then go like this. So like this one, and then his thumb. Or if you ate with this one, you go 1, 2, 3, and then your thumb. right? You understand? So there was also even a way that he ate, that he licked his fingers. He didn't just go like that, or rather he, if I remember correctly, he would like this, and then possibly swap over, like this kind of thing, like this, one side, and then opposite side. But he didn't just randomly stick his finger into his mouth and suck it, like to lick his finger like that. So there's an etiquette to doing that, guys. You see, there was an adab, even licking his fingers. Like he didn't just go like, no, it's not good. It's simple, 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 and simple, simple and simple. So I'm just gonna finish these couple things, and then I'll be class, inshallah. So he also drinks seated and in three draughts, meaning sips, like three, and then. So let's say he had like his water bottle. Let's say he had his water bottle. He wouldn't stand up, but he would sit down or squat, and then you go swallow, swallow, and swallow. So you could say in 3 sips. I guess if you want, you could like 3 sips. But like, sometimes when you're thirsty, you just gargle it like that, like that. Simple and simple to highly different words. Simple and simple to highly different. Oh, I know. I know. Simple words. Then we go to draughts. Right. But yeah, so he didn't chug the drink either. He didn't go no. Nor did he like how do I explain it? Basically, he would breathe when he was drinking his drink. He would take sips and then breathe, and then drink and then breathe, drink and then breathe, right? And he would also try whenever he was drinking from a cup. I remember reading that it's actually not good to really breathe into the cup either. So I don't have the cup here and then go and then drink it again. I guess scientifically you say because you're putting germs into it and then you're drinking it again. So it's good to kind of, I guess you could say, to hold your breath and then sip. And if you have to breathe, you can breathe and you continue drinking. So you go like, no. Drink simply in 3 draughts. So a couple of the things, quick, 1 minute. A couple of things that he has eaten is bread with vinegar. So you have bread and you have your masala. It's kind of like that. So you'd have like a vinegar masala type of thing. You eat the flesh of chicken and hubara. Hubara, I believe. Let me show you. Let's see if we can find what that is. Hubara. What's a bird, guys? So I'll get back to you guys, inshallah, what the hubara is, but it could have been a bird. The flesh of the flesh of chicken. So you ate the flesh of chicken and the hubara bird. And calabash, it's a gourd, a bottle gourd. It's kind of you guys know when you see a pumpkin, like squash. You have a pumpkin and you have like orange pumpkin, and you have like squash, kind of like that. Some stuff like that. You eat the shoulder meat of lamb. So the shoulder of a lamb. But I mean, you can eat like any part of the lamb, obviously. But, there's things that specifically he would eat. He also ate olive oil. He also ate olive oil. He also ate barley bread with dates. So just bread with dates. So you take out the seed and make like I guess you could say, just to get an understanding, something similar to like a date sandwich, right? And another thing, he'd also eat or drink. If you guys have any dates, you would put it in water, and you would let that sit overnight, and then you drink that in the morning. But you have to be careful, because if you take too long, or you let it sit for too long, that drink can turn into alcohol. It can turn into alcohol. So if you do try that, make sure you tell your parents and you watch it. It's called in English, it's called fermentation. when something ferments and it turns it into alcohol. So if you want to try that drink, I haven't. I don't think I have. Maybe I have, but I didn't like it. But anyway, if you want to try it, inshallah, you can. With some dates, put it in water and let it sit overnight, and you can drink it in the morning. Make sure you be careful and it does not turn into alcohol. So he would eat watermelon with fresh dates. He would eat cucumbers with fresh dates also. Dates with cream. Cream, you could say like a butter. And he loves sweets and honey. So that was his dressings and his food and his drinks. So that would be it. Oh, quick note though. So in regards to the watermelon, he Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that the reason you would eat dates with watermelon is because of what both did to his body when he ate them. Right? So you'd have his watermelons, but watermelons, when they touch your body, it's very cooling. Even on a hot day, you have like a nice watermelon. It's cool, it's refreshing to your body. So it had that, but then you would also have dates because dates are kind of hot. Hot in the sense when they hit your body, it's a hot food. So it's not cooked hot, but rather when you ingest it, it basically warms up the body. So it's a hot food. The watermelon cools off the body. Opposites. So he would do it and eat two opposites, and it helped to calm down the temperature of his body, basically. I hope you guys understand that too. Let me stop this recording now. Right, so that'll be